Today we talk about my favorite topic in astrology, which is about past lives and present lives and what you have to develop in this life. Or if you do not believe in past lives, then you can take it what you come with naturally talented with in this life, what you're born naturally talented, or what you develop naturally in your early age, probably in the first 20 to 30 years in your life, versus what you have to develop later in life. And this is indicated, this most important indication in your horoscope. There is nothing more important in your horoscope than the position of Ketu and Rahu, or as they're known in Western astrology, South Node and North Node of the Moon. They're the reason the person incarnates back in the Earth, comes back to Earth to learn the lesson of these planets, or these points as we call them in astrology. So if you learn what you have to focus on this life, you will have it so much more clearer picture about your path in life and about what's good for you and what you have to let go of. And usually Ketu, or the South Node, will indicate what we were really good in past life with, what we focus in past life, where we feel confident. So usually these, the place where Ketu is placed in our horoscope will show us where we have more natural talent or skill, or where we feel more confident in or we're just better in the first part of life. And Rahu will show us what we have to develop in this life, what we haven't focused in past lives, or if you don't believe in past lives, in the early part of your life, and what you will develop later on in life, usually in the second part of life after 35, 40 onwards. So you have a bit of difficulties where Rahu is, in the areas of life where Rahu indicates, because Ketu, you also have some boredom in the house of where Ketu indicates, because it's something you've already learn how to use it, learn how to be good at, so they're not easy positions, but they're very interesting because it will give you such depth of understanding about yourself. And what I want you to go is, I want you to go to my website astrology.com, go to my birth chart calculator, and I want you to, if you know your time of birth, enter it correctly, then you'll be able to see the house positions of Ketu and Rahu, or the South Node and the North Node. And if you don't know your time of birth, then just look at the sign position of Rahu and Ketu. The sign position will be given underneath on the table, where it will say Ketu is in Aries or Ketu is in Libra. Rahu is always the opposite sign. The South Node is always opposite the North Node. Because if you have developed something in the past life, the opposite you haven't much developed, And when you get that chart, or if you're using Western chart to get this, but if you're using mine, this is what you're gonna get. For instance, you might get Ketu here, and Rahu will be here in the 10th, 4th sign, 10th sign. But I want you to take a look this time of the house position. You can have the houses are indicated with Roman numericals. So you can have it house 3 and house 4 in the 4th sign together. So basically Ketu will, if the sign is indicated by one of the squares, each square is one sign. And what the sign is, you can see from the table underneath. So you can see which sign Ketu is in, which sign Rahu is in, and you will see that there is also Roman numericals. There is the house cuffs that are inside. It's a bit difficult, but I just want you to pay attention to these Roman numericals. So if you have Ketu with the 3rd and 4th house cups, you'll have Rahu with the 9th and 10th house cups in the opposite. So I want you to listen the video which says North Node in 10th house, or North Node in 9th house. Both of these videos, because I'll be indicating them by the position of the North Node, always Rahu in 10th house or Rahu in 9th house. And you will learn what your karmic duties are in this life, what you have to focus on in this life, what you have to learn to let go of, which is Ketu usually. It's really amazing. It's the best part of astrology. Now we're looking at the position of the North Node when it's in the sign of Aquarius, which is the 11th sign, or the 11th house, because it energetically responds, the number 11, the sign of Aquarius corresponds to the 11th house. And you find it if Rahu is in the 11th house, if you see this numerical value there. And then Ketu will immediately be in your 5th house. Or in the sign of Leo. So they have the similar meaning. In Western astrology, it will be shown to you with these symbols. This symbol in the 11th, the North Node, Ketu, the South Node in the 5th house. What happens then? We'll start with the past life always. Well, it means that you developed in a past life Leo qualities, or the qualities of the 5th house. And Leo is the king. So you became maybe you had a very high standing position in the past life. Maybe you were a celebrity or in the entertainment industry. You also, such children from young age, they'll be naturally talented to be expressive, to be larger than life, unless there are some other suppressing influences, but I'm talking generally, let's say, most of the people with these positions with Ketu in the 5th and Ketu in Leo, South Node as we call it, so they're naturally artistic, funny, talented, no, I can't say talented, but individualistic, and they kind of shine off from the crowd. For instance, a friend of mine has this position, and she's just so funny, so enjoyable. It's a pleasure to be around her, like a Leo influence, and she knows who she is, and she knows what who she is as an individuality separately, what are her special talents, what is her special, and she has a lot of self-worth, self-esteem. Leo is the sign of self-esteem, the 5th house is the house of self-esteem. So she knows who she is, she knows, she treasures herself for who she is. These people are also quite territorial, because Leo is a territorial animal. So they'll be kind of quite protective of whatever they're responsible for. And they would always like to shine, to be a center of attention, or even if they're not so exhibitionist, they will be just very, they'll know who they are and what they want, basically, But in this life, they will have to develop the opposite sign, which is Rahu, the position of the South Node. And it usually gives them problems in the first part of life, in the first 20, 30, even 40 years of life, because we haven't worked on this house, on this sign in the past life. We haven't developed the Aquarius quality. We haven't developed the 11th house, which is the house of social network and friendships. It doesn't mean you're not going to have those friendships, but the real friendships will come in your life a bit later. Often you can attract a lot of fake people around you, or because you're aware that you're not so good with groups and with the bigger fitting into the social circle, being one of the many, because you always want to stand out rather than be one of the many, one of the in crowd. And often because of that, you might even withdraw from such people, you might say, that's it, I've had enough, I don't want anymore to deal with, I don't need anyone, I'm okay on my own, and you break up friendships with people, and because you don't fit so easily, it takes time for you to fit into those groups, they don't take to you naturally. Maybe for a little bit you might fake it there, but a breakdown point comes. So maybe there are two extremes these people can go, because there is a strong desire in them to develop those social skills and the ability to fit in groups and society, that they really, I'm not saying social climbers, but they want to be accepted and validated by others, because Rahu shows where we have a craving for something, a deep void within us, and it will, even if we suck at doing it, because that somehow God has created us in a way to crave the things Rahu symbolizes, which is in friendship, social validation, But because we haven't developed it, we have a few bumps initially, the first few years of our life. So often one extreme of this behavior is that they would say go and become a part of a group, a social circle. Say if it's a social circle of models, they would want to be the best model. So they want to be the most modelly model. They want to shine out in the group. They want to be like, or if they are friends of goths, they would go and they would want to be the most gothy goth, with the most darkest makeup and the most piercing or whatever, listening to the most extreme music, or whatever kind of group of social group you go around, or if you're a gangster, you want to be accepted in the gangster world, you really try to make it hard there by trying to either become the best or the cruelest or whatever, or into a social climbing circle, you're the biggest social climber or something, But this is a very extreme expression. The other expression of this position is just the opposite, because you feel this is unfamiliar territory, even though you have a strong push towards it, and you've experienced one disappointment or two, because it never works from the first time when you try and do something for the first time, something new. And then, or you just have fear of the unknown, because Rahu, the North Node, shows the unknown, which is social situation circles. So you kind of isolate yourself, and you say, I'm fine, or some friends maybe hurt you, or you've had some fake friends or something, and you say, that's it, I am self-sufficient, I don't need anyone, and you retreat into your own loneliness on the top, the king sits alone on the throne. But that will make you sad. This will no longer give you pleasure. You need to learn to develop friendships which are constructive. You need to learn also to fit with others. Don't try and rule over them. Try and learn. Aquarius, if Leo is the king, Aquarius is like the well-oiled machine of society, where every person, every cog is an integral part of it. The king is no bigger than the servant who washes the toilet, because everyone has a part in that big machine. And these people have to learn to see friendships and social circles and people they know and groups as this, not as going there to rule them or to receive love and validation from them. No, you're going there to be part of this, to contribute to this social group, to contribute to your friends just as much as they, and to respect them as a person, rather than become resentful if they don't validate you as the king that you are. Just you learn to respect them for who you are. You don't always have to be the best. You can be equal with others. Aquarius is a sign of equality, of friendship. Friendship only works if you don't try and choose all of friends that you're better looking than, or that or somehow, I don't want to say this extreme, but they work when there is proper, how do I say, collaboration, and everyone is as important as the other. Well, so the biggest problem for these people is, to hopefully that they will not go into a resentful mode towards others, because, they're not accepted initially into the circles they want, or because they're accepted but they don't feel validated properly there, or they don't feel immediately respected as they want, So anyway, that's an interesting position. Let me know what you think. And develop your Aquarius qualities, humanitarian, open-minded, and not so territorial as Leos.